Okay, hi guys, welcome back to second semester. Hope you had a good break. Happy New Year. The new tutorial dashboard is going to be located inside of the pagoda and the palm forest on the map of Cat Island. So the Cat Club is the old sketchbook ones. So the new tutorial dashboard 2, which we'll refer to it as tutorial dashboard 2, will be in the pagoda, and you'll get all your animation desk animation tutorials that you can watch on YouTube from Rodriguez and myself. You'll find them there. So I have two animation desks here. I have the gold one there that you see over here on the side, and then I have this white one at the bottom. They both say, one says Animation Ultimate, and one says Animation. They're both at the bottom there. Um, that one, and this one here, right there. Okay. Um, One is the pro version. I bought it. What we're going to encounter with the animation desk that we didn't know about that we just realized is that it only lets you save up to 3 animations, which is like, what? And then it requires you to dump one in order to basically record a new one. So what you'll do is you'll render your movies on Animation Desk, and then uh, have that movie, because that's what you're going to turn in is the actual animation, not the Animation Desk file. So what will happen though is you won't be able to go back and work on it anymore once you delete it. But you can import in animations back frame by frame. So it's possible that we could work a way around that. I bought the pro version here because I need to be able to save more than 3 as I like record tutorials for you guys and stuff like that. Um, so I'm going to open up that one. It looks the same. It is the same. It just has some additional storage features basically. It costs $20 though, so we're not requiring you to buy that. You just need the other one over here. Then we'll just make room as we go with the animation project. So you'll record one into a movie or render it into a movie from the rough animation, and then turn that in and then delete the file. And then you'll make room for a new project. That's how we'll do it. So I'm gonna open it up. So this is what it looks like. You can see I've been fiddling around with some little stuff for the purposes of art. And when it comes to the drawing in this, you can keep it really sketchy and really rough and line art. We're not going to go overboard with the drawing because you have to do a lot of drawings, and it's very hard to get them to look all the same. You know what I mean? So uh, don't worry about the drawing. Basically, worry about the animation. And there's several principles in animation that you need to learn, and some of those are called squash and stretch, which is basically an exaggeration of the movement. So this is your animation desk. They call it that because this is an old animation board. This is the way they used to do it. It looked exactly like this, and they would rotate it when they needed to. So you just hold down your 2 fingers and you can rotate it around. And then basically they would flip through the animation. So this was like sheets of paper, like a pad of paper, and then it was semi-transparent, like kind of like tracing paper, and they'd be able to see the drawings underneath. And that is what they call today onion skinning. So I'm going to turn on onion skinning over here. So over here on the side toolbar, there's a light bulb I'm making blink on and off. That is your onion skinning icon. And so what that does, when you turn it on, it'll be glowing like that, is it allows you to see the frame before and the frame after. So this is your timeline at the bottom, and you can just scroll through it with your finger. The frame that it's currently on is highlighted by the gold box. Okay, and like I was talking a minute ago about the principles of animation, and basically what those are exaggerations. So when you do movement, you have to exaggerate the motion, you have to exaggerate whatever's happening um, to really make it pop out to bring the viewer to that. So I have my bouncing ball here, which is going to be your first project Rodriguez is going to do, but I'm going to do it with you in class. You can see how it goes from ball to squished oval, and then as it bounces up, it turns into an oval, okay, and then back into a ball. And so when we rewind this, it gets that rubbery type of a feel, okay. So this is your stage, basically, your animation desk, and then this is your timeline down here. And then over here to the side, you have layers. You have a background layer, which is what I put the dashed line on. And then you have a multiple layers where you can do different animations. In case like it's a complicated animation, whoops, didn't mean to do that. And you don't want to um, have it all on the same layer. So the layers you're used to, you can add a new layer with the plus sign above the layer over there. So those are your layers. This is your timeline, and this is your stage. You have a multiple undo and redo over here in the toolbar to the far left. And you can see where the light bulb was. So right over here, this toolbar, this basically will turn on onion skinning and it will turn off onion skinning. And then it also has an undo and a redo and those little curved arrows. So I can undo those two boo-boos. Now the two things that you see below that, the 100% and the 37%, are basically the size of your brush. So if you look up here at the top, I'm going to make them turn like gold. You have a selection tool, which we'll cover later. We have a drawing tool. We have an eraser. We have a paint bucket. And we have a stencil or rulers to do like perfect circles and junk. And then we have the same old color wheel that you're used to right here that you had in Sketchbook. So the outer wheel is your color, and then the tone, lightness and darkness is the square. Okay, and there's a way to sample color with the eyedropper. So you can kind of sample a color if you need to. We get rid of that. And there's some other features here. You can turn it into RGB instead of a wheel. You have different palettes. But for the most part, you don't really need it. You just need to go to the wheel for color. And then your drawing tools right here under your paintbrush, they give you a basic pencil, which does like kind of sketchy, grainy type of drawings. And then you have a inking pen, and you can see it does different ones. So like it will do pressure if you have a pressure device, so a pressure sensitive device, it'll do that. If you don't, then don't worry about it. So you can get like, pressure. I'm doing my iPad and my Apple Pencil right now. And then we have a paintbrush, which does, like several different types of like watercolor, and just it's almost the same as Sketchbook was really. And then we have an inking marker, for just like a magic marker, and then we have your finger, which is supposed to simulate like smudging. So if you need to like blend like shadows and stuff like that. We're not going to be doing too much fancy pants artwork in here because, I want to keep this light and fun. So we're going to focus on the animation. And so to focus on the animation, we don't want to get sidetracked with these incredible drawings and stuff like we were doing in Sketchbook, which we will later. I mean, later on, we're going to do some finished artwork. But while we learn the animation, let's just keep it with line art, black and white, stick lines, no fills, and just keep it really simple for our drawings and our animations to make life easier. The eraser tool basically erases stuff. Now, how do you change size of these brushes is over here on the toolbar. So where the light bulb is blinking on and off, you have a little where it says 40 right there. This, if you click and drag, and you can see the numbers going down and up, is the brush size. So all you have to do is click on it and then drag with your finger or your tool, and you can basically alter. Let's get on a new drawing tool here, and alter the size. And it does have a limit. So some of them, like that one, limit, it maxes out. Like they're not all the same. They don't all have the same limits as far as their numbers of how big or small they can be. Okay, and the eraser is the same way. The eraser tool can go big or small. So you can basically just click on that dot. You see how it's getting bigger and smaller? You just hold down and drag. So you click and drag. So you click, hold down, don't lift it. If you click and let go, then it doesn't do it. So you click and let go and hold down and drag, and it'll basically let you do it. And then you have this. So what is this black dot says 100%? Well, that's your transparency. So if you wanted to draw in, let's go up to a bigger brush. Oh, I'm on the eraser still, sorry. So let's go to the inking pen tool, and then I'll put it on, I'll click on my 100% and take it down to 27%. So you can see this allows me to draw in transparency. We're not going to be using much of that either, but I just thought I would show it to you. Shading is important, as I've taught you from Sketchbook, but right now we're not doing illustration work, we're doing animation, so there's other things to focus on right now than all that stuff. Those are your basic drawing tools: basic eraser, basic drawing tool. So that's all you're going to really need. And then down here, if you look, this is your timeline. You can see I've made a mess of mine. I'm going to go to this background here, and I'm going to clear the frame. All right. So there's my bouncing ball without the okay. Now, it automatically pretty much saves everything as you do it. So, as I experiment and screw up these things, I kind of just screwed that one up, and I didn't really save. I'd have to do a new background. So what I did before is I went to my color wheel and I got a gray. And then I'm going to go turn on onion skinning. And I basically created on my background a dashed trajectory just to kind of demonstrate where my animation was going to go. So I have to kind of find that again so you can kind of see me draw it. All right. So I just set that there as a guide. I don't really even need that. I can turn that off. So you can turn off layers with the eyeball. If you just click on the layer itself, it gives you the ability to give it a transparency, and there's an eyeball there. And the eyeball, you can rename it, you can clear it, you can delete it. So if you click on the layers, this is how we edit them. Okay. Down here is your typical like rewind and play, pause. You can play forward, play backwards, all that kind of stuff. But let's go down here to the timeline. Okay, so these are your frames, and each one is a separate stage where you can draw your artwork on. And when it comes to animation, we're going to draw pose to pose. So pose to pose means basically, so we start there. Let's turn on, onion skinning is on. Okay, and then my next major pose was here. So basically when you would do something like this, I'm going to put an X. I would first draw. I'm going to, let's put it on a new layer so I can delete that layer and not screw up everything. So let's go to gray. Okay. So I'd first draw like my first keyframes. These would be my keyframes. Okay. You would draw those first, and then you would go back and you would draw in your middle in between frames. So we'll do that with a square. And then you would go in and do in between those frames. So we'll do that with triangles. And the way that you do this, you can basically put them closer or further away to create slowness or speed. um, and change and alter the timing, because timing is everything, and exaggeration of movement is everything in animation. But we're not going to be learning this lesson right now. I'm just kind of like, let's go back and just delete that layer here. So I could delete the layer and then hit done, and the layer is deleted. Okay. And then if I can, we want to add a new one. I think you're limited to layers in the version you guys are going to be working, but we're not going to be using that many layers, so it's okay. Anyways, down here in your timeline, it's very easy to add a new frame. You can basically just kind of hold down on the frame, and when you hold down on the frame, it gives you these icons. So you just tap on it, or just you don't have to hold down, just tap on it. If you hold down, it wants you to, it gives you the ability to move it. So like I could take that frame and then drag it and put it wherever I want it to go. But right now I don't want to do that. So if you just tap on it, it gives you these icons, and those are basically for copying and pasting and trashing frames. You can also have a frame editor over here with these little, there's 4 gray boxes at the bottom right hand corner. If you click on those, it shows you all your frames, and you can basically just like drag a frame around. So I could take this frame here and push it all the way down to the bottom so that it, basically ends up in the same spot on an animation. Sometimes you want to create a loop, and you can edit and destroy. You can select frames, export them, copy them, destroy them. There's these little icons down there at the bottom that do all that stuff, which we'll kind of learn as we go. But that's your basic software. There's nothing more to this software at all. Um, Okay, so I hope you enjoy it. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with the software. It's pretty cool. Um, my first lesson is going to be the drip. So if I go back, this is a very rough one that I did. I'm gonna do a better one for you guys. But this is gonna be our first lesson. And maybe we'll fool with the timing on the splashes, but it's pretty easy to do. Mr. Rodriguez's first lesson is going to be that bouncing ball. So those are going to be your first 2 weeks, is the drip and the bouncing ball, and you'll get the hang of this really quick. And then we're going to get into walking sequences. I have a rough version of it. I'm going to do a cleanup version later, but this is a rough version of one of your lessons where you're going to take a little stick figure and shoot a little arrow. And then I told you we were going to do some dragon fire. Whoops, that's not dragon fire. So here's a rough version. This is a rough version. I'm going to do a cleanup better version. Okay, so we're going to have some serious fun with this. We're going to do the rocket ship taking off from space and all kinds of different stuff. So it's going to be a fun quarter, I think. Change of pace. We're going to do animation. All right, but make sure you have this installed if you haven't already. And I will see you guys in the other lessons.